More Than a Network Marketer podcast, which the rebrand, the title, is so perfect for who I'm catching up with today. And funny enough, we had this time block and we were already chatting for like half of the recording block we have. So you guys are going to get a fraction of the episode you would have, but you might be saying thank you very much for that because if anything, Maren and I can talk.
Facts.
So yes, so this is, as you know her on Instagram, Maren Crowley. I write it all the time, so I'm like, I know that one memorized. And if you've been watching, I mean, I feel like a lot of our content on this topic gets cross-posted a lot, but about kind of stepping away, like your first year stepping away from being primarily tied and associated with network marketing. And I thought it'd be fun to talk about like what is that like? Because so many people I feel like are like walking the tightrope or they're like on the fence of like,
Hmm.
should I see? I think of like, what's that movie? Um, is it Divergent where they're like, what's outside the thing? Is
I
that's what
think
it is,
so.
right? Yeah, and then you find out later it's like
I read the
there's
books. I didn't see the movie.
oh, I'm sure it's in the books too. I've saw the movies, haven't read the books, but they're so afraid to like leave and then they do
Hmm.
and they realize there's like a whole life out here. You know, I love
Correct.
my analogies, but they were brainwashed into thinking that this was as good as it's going to get and you got to make it in this world because you're never going to make it out there. And it's like, spoiler alert. I feel like that's
Hmm.
actually the plot of a few movies, but
For sure. Well, my descent, if you will, from the cult started way before Beachbody. So, in case your listeners don't know, like I was with Beachbody for 11 years as a network marketing gal. And so I saw the writing on the wall way before everyone else did. Um, I did not have cognitive dissonance like most. I started planning accordingly, financially, mentally, socially, spiritually, all the things. And so for me, what was really a big catalyst, though, of like a major, major pullback was starting a new job. So I was at home with my oldest for almost almost 2 years. But like I said, I saw the writing on the wall with Beachbody. So I went back to work a year. So I'm a golf professional. I went back to work a year before Beachbody actually closed its doors. So when I'm dead serious when I'm talking about like I knew that this was going to happen. It wasn't like I all of a sudden had this, intuition a few weeks before. Like I literally was like, all right, I need to start really planning. And so in that time period, I went back to work full time. It's seasonal though, right? So when I say full time, I'm working like 50 to 60 hours a week, but it's 6 months a year. And I also was pregnant with my second daughter. And so my priorities really shifted and I started pulling back on a lot of things. So gone were the weekly team calls. Those were like out. That before I got pregnant that summer, so that was 2023. That was the last summit I ever went to. And I knew even way before I got pregnant, like I wasn't going to go back the following year because I had been at the height of Beachbody when there were like 35,000 people in Nashville. And I went to, where the heck were we?
in was it was indie
Indy.
in
It was Indy, yes.
2023. Yeah.
And I was like, well, this is embarrassing. Like, you're getting multiple workouts because they can't even fill the conference center, to
It was
do
St.
their
Louis.
super
It wasn't
workouts.
Indy,
It was
was it?
St.
It was
Louis.
St.
It
Louis
was
because I'm
St.
thinking, I'm
Louis.
like, I did my event. That was St. Louis. Okay. But I
It was
mean,
St. Louis.
same distance from me, just
Midwest.
different
Yep.
directions.
So I had stopped recruiting. So that was like a really big thing that I want your listeners to hear is that I stopped recruiting because that's what network marketing is. It's not sales, it's how many people can you recruit. And I did not feel in my heart of hearts, like my value system, I couldn't, in good conscience, recruit people to this business knowing that it probably wasn't going to exist in a year. Now, I could have been wrong. It could have been 2 years, 3 years, but I knew it was happening and I didn't feel good about it. Didn't mean I didn't sell you the products because I believed in the products. I still use them to this day. I did my Joel workout this morning, drank my Energize, all the things. But I didn't want to recruit to the opportunity. So because I wasn't recruiting to the opportunity, like I said, that mentorship role really started to disappear. Gone were the weekly calls. I wasn't sending, like, I was always a big gift giver as an upline. Um, making sure that I had all team swag, and I just wasn't putting that energy into it. And quite frankly, the finances into it. Like, to have someone honestly, like, whatever, give it to give Goodwill the following year. And then and I stopped going to the your typical corporate calls. And then where I really started to make a shift is I was kind of like Chicken Little. I was like, guys, the sky is falling. The sky is falling. Like, why aren't you listening to me? And I started to get really gaslit by corporate because I would be in the chats, like saying whatever it was at the time. And on the side, corporate would be messaging me saying, like, can you not say that in the chat? Like, you're really freaking people out.
And that
And so,
is just so weird to just imagine that. Like,
and I straight up told multiple corporate mentors, this was in 2023. I straight up told them, I said, if I were you, I'd be looking for a new job. And they were like, what? And sure enough, two out of those three that I told are at Shackley now. And the other one went to another, she's doing something with injectables. And I don't even know if it's an MLM or what it is, but she's doing something with that. And so, like, I was right, but I just got really turned off. And I'm the type of person that I'm loyal to a fault, but once you burn me or someone I care about, like, I turn everything off. So that's basically what it is. I turned it off like a switch. I
ooh,
wasn't I wasn't pushing my downline to keep active with their orders. I stopped ordering underneath, like, because I had multiple accounts, like between my business centers, my parents, like they used to be, ordering product. I said, nope, we're done. So that's how I really started to make that shift. And in a way, like, you need to do that, because where they don't, what they don't want to tell you about network marketing is you're going to spend a lot of money. And for me, this is coming from someone that made multiple six figures at the height. And I knew that if I'm using air quotes, like, we're struggling relative, everything in life is relative. I knew that other people were too. And I couldn't, in good conscience, ask women to be spending. If I knew the money wasn't coming in for me the same way, I knew it sure as heck wasn't coming in for them. So I didn't even push them. Like, if they went inactive, it is what it is. If they dropped rank, it was what it was. And I stopped checking my back office, which is a really big shift. Like, you talk about, like, how does that make you feel? You gain time back, because at the end of the month, you were pushing for benchmarks. You were pushing, to stay active. You got to, reach out to so many people. Oh, I am only X amount of challenge packs away. Or, this person only is 15, TV or PV away from being active. All the things. I didn't care anymore. I
you
didn't
like
care.
you dismantled like so many of your habits and your patterns, like
Yes.
piece by piece. And
Mm-hmm.
I think that's something a lot of people don't realize they can do. You don't have to like cold
Correct.
turkey, delete your socials and block everybody, even though
Right.
some
And
take an extreme approach, sure.
well, for sure. And the time piece, what I don't think people quite understand, and this kind of like leads me into the next part of it, is people in network marketing spend a lot of time on social media because they consider their social media their storefront, which it is in a way. It's your portfolio, it's all the things. But, like, you want to talk about habits. I was always in the habit of showing my Energize in the morning and showing something of my workout. And for me, I didn't even make like pretty stuff. Like, some of these people who go the extra mile make really pretty stories and all that. Bless your heart. Like, not me. I'm raw. I'm like all the things, because time is money. And I was like, I'm not going to make some. Why? like I'm going to spend 10 minutes to make a really nice edited of me working out. Why? So you can skip it and go to the next story. You're not even going to watch a damn thing. So I just like would set it up, hit record for the 1 minute I was doing a move and call it a day. Um, but I stopped doing those things. And I just found like for myself, wow, I spent a lot of time creating content that wasn't even converting. And the number one message I was getting from people, that, like I said, this was way before Beachbody even disappeared, was, do you still do Beachbody? Because people were so used to seeing me talk about the products and do it, and I wasn't anymore. And that was like a red flag for people because it became a part of who I was for, like
Yeah.
I said, almost 11 years. And that was a really big shift because then I thought about like, well, now I get to talk about the things I actually care about. Now I get to, like, I didn't care about showing Energize. I thought it was stupid. Like, at the end of the day,
It's crazy the things in the space that you're just so conditioned to do that aren't even actually rooted in any strategy that converts. It's
mm-hmm,
just like, yeah, like showing the workout clip, and usually people will like speed it up. You can't even tell what anyone's doing. It's like other than being some B-roll that you could accompany with something else, it's like, what is that
correct.
actually doing? And I think a lot of people when they sat down and like looked at the things they were doing and they saw that just the dots weren't connecting, I could see how that
Mm-hmm,
could be very defeating.
for sure. So instead of talking about Beachbody, I started leaning into other products that I use and love, right? So I really started leaning into certain affiliates that I'm really proud of. I'm an affiliate for Herbal Face Food or Truly Free or Rocasa Organics. Like I started leaning into that more. Um, and then because of the golf industry, like I stopped working at the end of June. I was due end of July. Oof. South Florida heat when you're 9 months pregnant is no joke. So
Whew.
at that time, I wasn't making income, right? Because my income comes from teaching. And so that's when you and I started talking about UGC. And I just think it's so hysterical. So for those of you who don't know, I had a home birth and I literally had UGC packages and Amazon packages showing up at my door like the day that I'm giving birth in my home because I started diving into UGC in the beginning of July. I ended up having my daughter on the 24th. So here I was like building a portfolio, learning how to take selfies. I'm 9 months pregnant. So I'm trying to just like take, from the head up, like, so I don't have this big pregnant belly and photos or videos and things like that. My husband is like, what is this? Like, what is all this stuff showing at my house? My mom and dad, like, they were coming and helping out and going in shifts. I'm using them in content. My toddler, like, she's all involved. And then it just started to grow, like from UGC into the Amazon influencer program. And then, oh, I forgot to mention this in the spring, I started doing one-on-one coaching. So essentially, I was teaching people who, yes, they were part of, some of them were part of network marketing, different company. They weren't with Beachbody, and like teaching them how to strategize. Um, but as I was diving into UGC, I was teaching them about it as well. So that was like a really big and cool moment for me. And then crazy enough, have the baby, and then like within 2 weeks, created my own course for it and workshop. And now that lives on my website. But like it was a wild time.
And I love that, like, you, again, you did things in stages, in phases, and still really stuck to your guns about, like, hey, how I used to do things just is not working. And the thing that, like, puzzles me is why do you think that people stay doing something, and it could be anything, that isn't working? And it's not that it's not working because they're not doing the work, right? That's different, but it's just not working.
A lot of reasons. Um, first of all, a lot of people don't like change. And I can attest to that. Just take, let's not even talk about like network marketing, like going into my new position. I'm now going into my third season at this country club. You know, I replaced someone that was there for over 10 years. And so they were very attached to her. She was very vibrant and they loved her. And so when I came in, it was hard for them because I wasn't her and we're very different people, very different. And so they had to get used to a new person. They had to get used to the new ways that I was doing things versus what she did. Um, and the first year was hard. Plus, I was pregnant. So it was
Hmm.
like, keep your emotions together, Maren. Um, but then the second year got better, right? And going into my third year, like people, the membership, right? So I'm in charge of this ladies group. Like they understand who I am now, right? And so it's become much better and cohesive, and we're on the right path towards change. There isn't as much pushback. So that is the big thing, is that overall people just don't like change. They really don't. The other part is it becomes who you are as a person, because I know this is probably going to trigger some people, but like network marketing is very cult like. They want you to look a certain way, dress a certain way, talk a certain way, hang out with a certain amount of people. Like if someone dissents and leaves or goes to another network marketing company, you have to oust them. Like you don't talk to them. I've seen network marketing ruin friendships, ruin families, because people don't like when you leave, which, hello, that's a major red flag. And so I think people culturally are very afraid of leaving what they know and then either getting totally out of the space or going into something else and like having a new group of friends, so to
Yeah.
speak. So that makes it very difficult. I think another piece is you always have the haters out there that tell you like, and now, right? Hindsight's always 2020. I was in the 0.01% of success. But when I was in network marketing, it was very difficult for me to understand that there really was a 0.01%, because to my credit, I created other 0.01 percenters. And most people in network marketing don't do that. Like I had another coach who also was in the Millionaires Club. I had several coaches that were making 30, $40,000 a year, which is as a part-time job, right? They weren't
Yeah.
even doing it full time. Like that's a pretty significant part-time job on top of their full-time jobs. So, and I didn't have a big team as far as personally sponsored coaches. So for me, I'm like, well, my coaches see success. Like, so I didn't get that there really was a 0.01% until I stepped out of it. And I was like, oh, wow, no, there really is. Um, so circling back to what I was saying, like the haters, they're trying to tell you like, oh, network marketing's lame. No one makes money with that. And I don't think people, they're afraid to admit that those people were right. They're afraid to admit that, yeah, I did financially lose money, or
Mm.
yeah, I was part of that quote unquote cult, because it can be embarrassing, right? I mean, for 11 years, I fought people all the time about like, no, I'm really making a difference. Do I think I did? Yes. But I also, in hindsight, see there was things that needed to change, and just who I am as a person. I thought I could be the person to change it when I was in it. I always thought that I could change it. Like that's that's just who I am as a person. And I think that's why I'm so outspoken now, being out of it, about never going back to it and encouraging people not to go into it if they haven't already. And if they're on the border of like, do I stay or do I go? Like go, and I know I can't change some people's minds, and that's okay. Like that's their choice. But for anyone that I can reach and like share my story to, I'm going to, because at the end of the day, there's greater opportunity beyond this space of network marketing. And you can learn a lot from it, and you can 10x your opportunity outside of it.
It's so true. It's so true. And I think One of the biggest things that people would love to know is like, what are some of those steps to start to kind of open your eyes to what is out there? Like, what do you recommend people do?
So as far as leaving network marketing,
Yeah, for
so
starting to
yeah.
step outside of the gate a la Divergent movie.
So the first thing that I would recommend to people is, in network marketing, they always want to talk about multiple streams of income. Oh, yeah, financial flexibility. No, like you really need to lean into that. And what's going to show your upline and the people you surround yourself with true colors is when you do that. I always encouraged my downline to have multiple streams of income. Like I don't just have a Roth IRA. I have a SEP. As much money as I made with Beachbody, which was a big nut, with the exception of the 2 years that I was at home with my firstborn, I worked. Like I was never one of those like I want to retire my spouse. Like no, thank you.
Yes, get them out of the house.
Yeah. So it's really going to be a tell if you start doing other things like what is the response from your upline? And if it's negative, that's your red flag right there that like they don't like your relationship for them between you and them is transactional. Because if you're not focusing on what your company is and say you're talking about an affiliate partnership that you really like, or maybe it's let's just pretend you're in the supplement business and because I did this, right? Like you get brainwashed into thinking like, oh my gosh, there's only one supplement that you can take out there for hydration and it has to be with your network marketing company. No, bro, like there's plenty of options. Maybe it's skincare, right? Like you or hair or whatever it is. Like there's so many options out there. If you start talking about and yes, earning money from another resource and your upline is coming down on you, like you shouldn't be doing that. I mean, I have people in my downline that like narked family members out like to compliance for talking about other things. Okay. Like that's how crooked this whole network marketing thing is. Um, and like I said, it breaks up friendships and families. It's wild. So if you start to see that behavior happening, you know right there who you are or what you mean to your upline. The other thing is, I think you should dive into, like I said, other affiliate opportunities as well as tapping into UGC. First of all, it's only going to make you better as a content creator. You're forced to get creative. You're not doing the same thing over and over again. Oh, look at my energize with a
Yes.
boomerang. Like gag me. You're coming up with creative ideas and concepts. You're getting to try new products. You're obviously creating another stream of income for your family. And once you start creating that other stream of income, then you're like, oh, wow, I actually have like skills and talents that I could use elsewhere. And I could be, and you probably will make more money doing it. That's your out, right? Because
Yeah.
you only have 24 hours in a day, spend it wisely. And if all of a sudden you see, I'm just making up numbers, that you make $100 a week in your network marketing company, and for the same amount of time, you can create a UGC 30-second reel and make $100 on it. You're like, oh, well, this is a no freaking brainer. And that's why, I mean, gosh, we would probably have to do another podcast about this, but that's why in 2023, there was such a major uproar in Beachbody world when it came to herbal face food because it is a high-end product. It works.
Mhm.
I use it. Kayla uses it, right? I use other products, don't get me wrong, because, I like to talk about multiple products because I understand that herbal face food, quite frankly, like isn't in everyone's budget, and that's okay. But there are two staples that I 100% use all the time, one being the soap, the other being the cure. And it caused a major issue within Beachbody because you had top coaches who were earning a 30% commission off a very high end product. I mean, the soap, I think, retails for like $85 or
Something
something
like
like that.
that. Yeah. So they were actually making money like they used to back in the
Correct.
day.
I mean, you had top coaches that were making $60,000 a month. 60,000, right? So for, they didn't have anyone from their top necessarily coming down on them. Maybe corporate was like kind of gaslighting them into thinking they weren't allowed to do this, which by the way, they weren't. I wrote a letter to compliance, never heard back from them because they had no leg to stand on. But they're the smaller fish, if you will, were being bullied into canceling their accounts because their upline saw this is where their attention went. That's what I'm talking
Hmm.
about. Like if your attention's going somewhere and your upline's coming down on you about it, that's a red flag to you that your best like interest is not at their heart. Their own best interest is at heart. And they can see that you're not their little gopher anymore and you're doing your own thing. So I would start with affiliate marketing. I would dive into UGC and go from there. And I think people overall, like once you see the income coming in, it makes it more legitimate and you're like, okay, I actually have an option. It's all fun and games for me to talk about UGC or Kayla. You
Hmm.
hear something, but and you could tell yourself, well, they have X amount of experience or they have X amount of followers, or it does, none of that matters. Kayla and I will both tell you it's a low barrier to entry. Um, you know, we say that anyone can do network marketing. I don't believe that. I truly only believe the 0.01% can do network marketing. You have to be really good at recruiting. Whereas in UGC, it's not like that. It's at all. So dive into that, see that the proof is in the pudding, and then you'll have an easier way to step away. This is a terrible analogy, but it's like someone who's in an abusive relationship and they're tied to their partner or spouse that is the sole income provider. What do they start doing? They start hoarding money on the side to escape and get away from their abuser because they know they can't just up and leave, pack up their stuff and go because they'll be homeless. They don't have anywhere to go, whatever. They start planning your escape from network marketing and it'll make it a lot easier to go. That was a really
Love it.
heavy analogy, but it's the truth.
It makes sense. And for wrapping us up here, one of the biggest things I know that I hear, and from the people I don't hear it from, I know it's pretty or unspoken, is the topic of community and the fear of not having community if you're not actively immersed in it. What's your experience been on the topic of community now that you're basically a year outside of the space now?
Well, so here's the thing. When I recruited to my team, like my personally sponsored coaches, they were truly my people. So they legit were my people, like women who were in my bridal party, but also women that I aligned with value wise. They weren't just a body to me to put in my
Hmm.
downline. So when Beachbody disbanded, like I'm still in communication with these people daily because they're my friends. They're my legit friends. It has nothing we're not held together because of Beachbody. We're held together because of who we are as friends. So once again, this goes back to the transactional friendships. Like I'm the type of person when one door closes, like I leave it closed. Like I've never gone back to my high school. Like once I left my job where I was coaching at, I was a head coach at a university. Like, nope, don't go back. Like I'm a slam that book close and move on to the next novel.
Hmm.
I don't dip into both arenas. And I just feel like I haven't needed to be in two places at once because my people are my people. And what ended up happening is those people, because we have such strong loyalty, they're the first to purchase from my affiliate links. I've taught them one-on-one in group coaching, or they're joining my UGC workshop. These are people that I actually know and communicate with on the daily, like, via phone, because, they have my phone number and we're friends, or people I've just created strong bonds with on social media. Nick, my husband Nick calls them my internet friends. He doesn't get it. He's not on social media. But the truth is we have a really strong bond and loyalty because we're rooted in our values. It's not just the company, right? So with Beachbody, yeah, that was a health and fitness company, but at the root of it is that we all want to be healthier people. So it doesn't matter whether it's Beachbody or, ABC supplements. Like we want to be healthier together, and that's what our commonality is. So if you lose people, they weren't your people to begin with anyway. And you're always going to find a new group. But that's why it's so important to be on social media and truly be you, because there's a lot of wolves in sheep's clothing on social media where you think you know who they are, but they're not who they really are. And I say this, and it's one of my most proud moments about being involved with network marketing is every single person that was either in my downline or even strangers that were like on other teams, when they met me in person at Summit, they would always say to me, it's so really like powerful and cool that you're the same person online that you are in person. And that's like very valuable to me, and that's who I always want to be, because I don't want people to meet me and be like, well, that's not who I thought she was. Or like people didn't leave my team to go to some other upline because they had a bad time. Like, yes, what you see is what you get. And
Hmm.
so I think that that's very important. So if you lose people, such as life, like people and all that, like they come into your life for reasons and seasons, and you're going to find your group somewhere else. But I do think as a whole, network marketing isn't always the best place to find it. Like find true community in your town, local moms, in your church, things like that. You can make really good friends online too. Um, it doesn't have to be rooted in your network marketing company for sure.
I love that. And then, Maren, I'm going to put all the fun links below about where people can find you and see what you're up to. And of course, see you sharing all of the good uh the good intel and info on where the industry continues to shift. So you always have
Thank
awesome
you.
insight. But awesome, guys,
Appreciate it.
thank you so much for listening. And I will catch up to you or catch up with you, one of those, very soon. All right, bye.